Hi, I'm Corey Walmsley, and I'm the CEO of Aurora Borealis Publishing. Today, we're going to be talking about copyright. I'm going to answer a few typical questions that I get about copyright because we put out books, so we get a lot of questions about copyright, what it does, what it's for, all of that good stuff, as well as a couple misconceptions about copyright and some other things related to it. So let's get started. I want to start out by saying that, everybody has seen the little C with the circle around it, right? So when you see that on something, that is supposed to mean that that item has been copyrighted. If you see it on somebody's digital download, if you see it on the copyright page of a book, those are just a couple of spots that you would probably see it. That is supposed to mean that the book is protected, or that item is protected, and whoever it was that created that does not want other people to take it, which you shouldn't be taking other people's stuff anyway. They don't want other people to take it and use it as their own. Having that mark on your item, on your book or whatever, by itself doesn't give you the full protection that you actually need, though. Whenever you create something, it is considered yours. Okay. So if I sit here and I type up a whole book and I have it on my computer, it is considered mine. Now, if somebody were to steal it off of my computer before it's copyrighted, then they don't have the right to it. And I could actually file a lawsuit and say, they stole my work. This is mine. I'm the person who created it. Now, I have a leg to stand on because I created that. However, it's not as powerful as if I get it legally copyrighted. And I don't just mean putting that little C on there. When you get something legally copyrighted, you're actually going to the government and filing for a copyright. And that is a little bit different from just putting the C on there. Whenever we put out books, what we do is publish the actual book and file for a copyright. So we go to copyright.gov and actually fill out a big long form, upload a copy of the manuscript, and file for the copyright. We wait until the book is complete, and it has to be a published book. You can't copyright something legally if it's not published. So I couldn't take something on my desk, on my laptop, for example, and copyright it. It's not published yet. So you have to wait until the book is actually published. Now, I've had people who are concerned about, like, oh, if I'm sending this to agents, or if I'm sending this to you, to me, how is that protected? How do I know that you're not going to take it and run with it? Well, first of all, I know that you created it, it is yours, and I'm not a scumbag, I'm not gonna take your stuff. So there's that. There's also the fact that we always send people, or give people, the option to have a confidentiality agreement saying that we will not publish it, we will not share it with anybody, that it is basically a secret between the two of us that you actually have this manuscript. So that's something that we do as just a good faith sort of thing to help, ease the mind of the author. There are plenty of people who have sent me things and I've said, you know what, this isn't for us. I delete it from my laptop, and I never share about it with anybody. As far as other people know, that conversation never happened, and I never even read the manuscript. So, that's something that we do to help our authors and other people who we don't even end up working with. But you are protected to an extent because you have actually created the thing. Now, the difference between the two, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just explaining, with my knowledge, the difference between the two, between just I created it, so I have rights to it, and I copyrighted it, so I have rights to it, is the amount that you can get in court. You have a legal copyright if you've gone through copyright.gov. So you have something that the government is saying, hey, you own the copyright to this. They actually send out a paper to you, the author. And like when we copyright stuff, it's to the author. It's copywritten in the author's name. So if I publish an author and they end up finding that somebody has used their work, they have a sheet from the government, a government document that says that this book is their copyrighted material, and they can take that person to court and sue the pants off of them. So having your book copyrighted is much better than just saying I created it and thus it is mine. You will have a little bit tougher of a time and you won't get as much in monetary damages. So there's that. A couple other questions I get. Yeah, so once you have that, once you have the book copyrighted, yeah, that C that you have on the copyright page of your book, it means something. It really means something, and it means people better keep their hands off of it. I've had people ask me too, if it's children's book, do I have to copyright the images? Or if I have some diagrams or whatever in my book, do I have to copyright the images? The answer is no, that they are already part of that book and the entire thing is submitted as a copyrighted piece. If you wanted legal protection for a specific image outside of the book, then I would get a trademark for it. Submit that to the government for a trademark, and you can have that image trademarked. Now, that's not something I know much about. I'm just mentioning it because there's often confusion between trademark and copyright, and I do get that question a lot. If you want to trademark specific images in your book because you think that people will want to borrow them, that's something that you can look into yourself. That's not something that a publishing house typically handles, at least from my experience. That's not something we ever handle. We handle the entire book copyrighted as an entire book. We always put a little blurb on the inside on the copyright page, though, that says, there's fair use. And that's not a phrase that we use in there, but you might have heard of fair use. Fair use is like if you want to quote somebody's book. Yeah, you can absolutely quote a paragraph out of their book as long as you cite it. You say, this is not my work, this is somebody else, and I thought that it was important to my work, so I wanted to quote their work in my work. You always cite somebody else's work, make sure that that person has been given credit for it. If you're using an image, I would get get permission from the person before using it, just to be safe. If you're using like a whole chapter out of their book, obviously that's not going to fall under fair use. But if you are in the media, or if you are writing your book and you want to use a couple sentences or whatever, yes, you quote it, you cite it, it's all good. So those are just a few things that I get questions about all the time. How do we protect my work? The copyright, the trademark thing, what works best? How can you actually do it? All that good stuff. Again, the website is copyright.gov. It's a US government website. You can go there and copyright your work. If you're an independently published author, I recommend going on and doing that just to have that protection, because you don't know if somebody's going to decide to borrow your stuff. Yeah, so that is what I know. I am not a lawyer. However, if you want more information about this kind of stuff, one of my clients wrote a book. It's called Legally Bossed Up. Her name is Chevelle McPherson, and she is phenomenal. She is an amazing lawyer. She's a speaker. She's an author. I highly recommend you pick up her book and learn more about copyright and trademarks and all the other things you need to protect your business if that's something that you need. Otherwise, understand that copywriting your book is something super important that you should do. And if you work with us, we handle that for you, because it's just one more thing on the list that you don't necessarily need to handle yourself when you have, a lot of things on your list. So I hope this was really helpful for you. And if you want more information about working with us, please go to auroracorrealispublishing.com.